So, welcome back everyone. From our last class, we were able to set up our automation test framework from scratch. Starting from downloading our where we didn't do download our Visual Studio, but we went through the step by step, and we talked about how you can download your Visual Studio, integrate your Specflow, create your folder structures, add your Nugget packages, which is this, setting up your host class, your feature file, generating your step definition, um, yeah, designing your page objects as well, and then writing your tests. Okay, so now we stop. Yeah, then we stop at giving user navigate to PrimeSoft. So now we'll change this to Softbyt because we will be navigating to Softbyt. Okay, so I'll just change it to Softbyt. Okay, so I'll just leave it as it is. I won't change it to Softbyt because if I do so, I'll have to change a whole lot of things here because I named it as a Softbyt project, and I also have PrimeSoft here. So everything about this project is PrimeSoft. So all I would do is just to replace this URL and then point it to Softbyt. Okay, I'll point this URL to Softbyt. So if I run this test, it will navigate to Softbyt's website. Okay, so on the Softbyt website, what I want to do is I want to navigate to the Softbyt, which is here. I want to get on this page. So I want to get on this page, click on Get in Touch. So I want to navigate to this page, click on Get in Touch. Once I've clicked on Get in Touch, I can fill in this form and submit. That's what I want to do. And then verify that. Then we'll verify that this has been submitted. Okay, the form has been submitted. Okay, so what I will do is navigate, enter name, company name, email address, phone number, subject. Okay, this is optional. We're not going to fill this, and then click on this submit button. Okay, so we'll be really quick on this. So the first one is click on get in touch. So we'll now start by when, okay, user clicks on get in touch. Click on get in touch menu and user fill. So I won't, you can, depending on how you want to write it, you can say, so let me open this. You can decide to say and user enter name and user enter, you can say user enter name and user enter company name, user enter email, user enter phone number, subjects, and so on. You can decide to do that. You can also decide to say, okay, you don't want to do that. All you want to do is just to, say and user fill the form. Okay, depending on how you want to do it. But for the purpose of doing it, let's just do it one after the other. So I will say I use an enter name, company name, email address, phone number. Okay, there are other ways you can do that as well. So and user enter name. The next one is so I want to pass the name from here as a parameter. So I want to say I use an enter name, then I will put the name as tester. Okay, pass the name as tester and user enter company name. And I will pass the name as well, the company name as a parameter from here as well. And then I'll pass it as Tester Ltd, which is Tester Limited. That's the company name. And user enter. Let's look at the next thing. What next the user will have to enter? Okay, company email, their number. Okay, so email and number. So and user enter email. I want to pass the email as tester@gmail.com. So now, like I said, this is not just one way of doing it. This is just one way of doing it. The other ways, you can decide to, pass all this data, this information, okay, um, from a configuration file as well. Okay, so you can decide to pass all this from a configuration file. And then if you have this test running on your pipeline, you can decide to just put this, okay, run. If you pass on your local, you can just remove it and just put tester everything. Then on your reports on your pipeline, okay, you can now set your parameter and get it to override whatever parameter you've set here or in your configuration file, and that will also pass. Okay, and user enter. The next one is I was looking at that, I've forgotten the next one. So phone number and user enter phone number. And we want to also pass it as well. We'll just put a random phone number. So another thing I also want to mention is there's a package you can also download that is called Datafaker. Okay, take note of it, Datafaker. So you can download a Datafaker, okay, and that Datafaker will be generating name for you. Datafaker can generate a name for you, a random company name, random company name, random email, and random phone number. So anytime you are running it, it will generate a new email, a new phone number, a new name for you. Okay, so, and user clicks on submit button. Then user must receive a success message. Okay, so this is us. We've defined all our step definition, our feature file. So we want to generate the step definition. Like I said, you double click, go to define steps. Okay, once you click on define step, you can see all those steps has been defined for us. Instead of clicking on create, you won't click on create this time around because we already have a step definition for this particular feature. If you click on this create, it will override the other step definition you've written for this particular feature file. So what we're going to do is we'll click on copy to clipboard, then come to our step definition, which is this, and paste. So when pasting, you should be careful. When pasting, you can see this curly braces, which might be the end of this method. Okay, and then you paste inside here. Ensure that you're pasting it inside the class. So this is the curly braces. This is where the class ends. So you need to paste it inside the class. You can see this public prime source homepage class. So you have to make sure you paste it inside the class. Okay, so I've pasted it, all of it. So this is, and user click on get in touch. User enter the name, and user enter company name, and user enter email address. User enter phone number. Okay, so and user click on submit button. So user receive successful message. This is where we'll do our session. Okay, so remember the step feature file step definition. The next is now go on the web page and copy your locator, okay, or your elements and save it on your page objects. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go on our page objects. Okay, we want to now go on the website and copy all the locators that we can use to interact with all those elements, all those components. Okay, so now we'll go to the website now. So let me go on the website. But before we go on the website, anyway, so there are ways you can find your elements. Okay, there are so many ways you can locate find your elements. You can either find your elements by okay, let me just write it so you see it. So when we find our element, we are going to store it in a private variable, okay, because we want to access it from just this class. We're making it private. We're using access modifier private access modifier. because we will access the variable from this particular public class PrimeSoft homepage objects. If we want to access it from outside this class, we would have to use public. Okay, so we use private by. So you write the name of the variable you want to store your locator on. Okay, the name of the variable you want to store your locator on. So the first one we want to access is the get in touch menu. So you have to name it properly. And when you are naming a variable, you always start with standard practice, start with a lowercase. Okay, so get in touch. In touch. You write in a camel case as well, get in touch. Header menu. Header menu. Okay, so equal to by. So now I want to show you different ways you can locate your elements. You can see the moment I click on private, I have written private by get in touch header menu. Okay, by equal to by dot. It's now bring up all different ways you can access your locator. Okay, you can either do that by partial link test. You can do that by expert. You can do that by CSS selector. You can do it by tag name. You can do that by reference equals. You can do that by class name. CSS selector, I've mentioned that. Link test, you can do that by ID. You can do it by name. Okay, I've mentioned expert before. So these are different ways. The most useful one is the ID. If you've got ID attached if you've got ID that is unique to a particular component, it's better to use your ID because most often your ID doesn't change. You reuse ID for different components unless they are the same. So, but most often IDs doesn't change. And when you are using, and you should also not use an absolute part. You should not use an absolute expert because if you use an absolute expert, if any component changes, your test will fail. So what you want to do is you want to use a locator, okay, that's will, not make your test to fail every now and then if anything changes. So sometimes it could be hard. You have to construct either an expert or a CSS selector to do that. Most often your tag wouldn't be, unique to that particular component. You have to, it's being used for different components. Sometimes the name varies, doesn't, changes. So let me show you what I mean. So what I wanted to show us here is this, different ways you can access it. So by the time we start looking at our DOM, you will now start looking at different ways that we can access our elements. Okay, so I'll just select one. I'll just select by experts. Okay, as a placeholder. Then I can change that later if we're not using experts. I'll just select experts as a placeholder so I can complete this. Okay, so once I get the elements, if it's by expert, I will just place it in here. Okay, if it's by ID, I will change it, remove this expert, put it by ID and put the ID in here. Okay, so depending on which one. So this is how you do it. You can decide to duplicate this to make your test quicker. I can duplicate it for all the elements that I want to work on. Duplicate it. So if you duplicate it, you need to change all these names as well to suit what you want to do. Okay. So what we want to do for the first one is we want to, if I go on my feature file, you will see what you want to do on your step definition. If you go here, you want to enter your name, company name. So we can come here and say, write our page objects. We can say, write our name. Okay. Name. Okay. So this is like a name field. Okay. So this one, can start to say username field or just name. So the next one is company name. Company name. The next is email address. So email address. Okay, the next one is phone number. Phone number. And next is submit button. So all these ones are fields. So this one is submit button. Submit. Submit button. Okay, you can decide to add fields here so it makes sense. Okay, yeah. So now we've written a placeholder where we'll store our elements. Okay, so what we'll do is once we have gotten this element, we'll store it all in here, then write a method that either click or send keys to those fields. Then call the method on our page objects, on our system definition, run our tests, and that's all. Okay, so the next hurdle now, what to do next is now come to this and inspect the elements. Now, to inspect your elements, you right-click anywhere and click on Inspect. So once you right-click anywhere, click on Inspect. Okay, so let me see this. Yeah. So once you right-click anywhere, click on Inspect. The website is messed up. So we want to click on Get in Touch. This is what we want to click on, Get in Touch. So we can click on this. This is Inspect. If you can see, if I hover on it, you can see select an element on this page to inspect it. Okay, you click on this. Once you click on it, you can now come to the particular one that you want to click on, which is this Get in Touch. Okay, once I've clicked on it, yeah, once I've clicked on it, you can see the element shows here. Okay, you can see Get in Touch. If we want to use the href, okay, we can use this link test, this one. Okay, so but we also have this one as well, which has Get in Touch. So the easier way to do it, if you are a beginner, if you are new, or you haven't gotten to understand this done, okay, is to come here. So is to come here and just right click. Okay, once you right click, you click on copy experts. Don't copy absolute, don't copy full experts. You do copy experts. Okay, once you copy experts, you can now click anywhere in the DOM, Control F. You can see this, and then you can paste. So once you paste this, you can see that you have this as your experts. This is an expert. Okay, so we can also see that it has an ID, which is nav item.this. But what you are not sure of is this ID, does this ID changes? Okay, let's see, look at this ID. Does it change? It's not even unique. You can see it's one of two. It's one of two. So one is the first one, and two is somewhere else. So you are not sure the ID changes over time. Okay, I think it does change. Okay, this is not a perfect ID that you can use. So for now, we will use the expert that I copied before. Okay, but in our next class, I will show you guys how you can as well customize your experts. You can customize your experts. If this ID is one of one, you can also use it, but it's not. Okay, but let's use it for example for now and send the key and see what happens. Of course, you can always change it. So let's copy this. Okay, we'll copy the ID, and then we can go to our web page and then paste it. Okay, so remove this experts and do it dot by what? ID. Okay. So now after that, we want to write our method that will click on this get in touch. Okay. So how do we do that? When I say public, we use a public access modifier because we would like to access this particular method from outside this class. So, and the method name will be click on get. Click on get and touch. Header menu. Your naming is important so someone else can easily read your code. Okay. Put bracket open and close, and then our curly braces down. Then this is where we'll now call our driver dots. Okay, find elements. Now find elements. Look into what the difference between find elements and when to use them. It's an interview question. I ask you what is different between find elements and find elements. So let me give you a hint to that. So you use find elements when you are looking for one element. Okay, but when you want to print so many elements, okay, there are so many elements, there are more than one element, you want to print them or you want to look through so many elements, okay, you use find elements. Read more about that. It's an interview question. So find elements because it's one, find elements, then we can now call our variable name, which is get in touch. Okay, if you scroll down here, you will see it, or you can start typing it out and it will pop up. Get. Can you see get in touch? So you can just click on tap and then here. So you can see it's no longer grayed out because we've used it. Okay. So the next thing you would do is now call your page object, call this method in your step definition. We'll go to our step definition and we'll remove this. And how do we call it? We'll call it by calling our constructor, which is homepage, this constructor, homepage, okay, dot our method, which is click on get in touch. See it here. So this is it. Okay, so we want to run our test to see if that ID that we choose worked. So let me save. I'm going to build and clean. I'm just going to build anyway. Okay. Yeah, it's built. So I'll run my test now. I'll run my test now. Well, for me to run it, what I will do is I want to comment these ones out because we haven't actually implemented all these steps. Okay, I'll just comment them out. To comment them, you just click on this comments, comment them out, and I will run my test. So I will run it on debug mode. Okay, so I'll just place a breakpoint here just to run it on debug mode and see what happens. Okay, so I'll right click and debug. So once it gets to this point, it will break and see what happens. So just want to make sure that that ID is working. So see, yeah, it's here now. So let me show you the website that opened. I click on this. This is the website. You can see Chrome is being controlled by automated tests. Okay, just want to show you that the website opened. Right. So I'll go back and now I will do stepping so you see how it's been executed. So we're in our step definition. Okay. Once I click on stepping, it goes to this. Okay. And it goes to this method. And once I do click on stepping now, it's running. So that has been executed. And if I go back to You can see it has clicked on it, right? It clicked on it. That's why we're on this page. So the ID worked. Okay, so, and I can now go and step in. Okay, you can see our test will pass. Just on the assembly, let me just click on continue. And so our test passed. So if let me run it so that, let me just remove the debug stuff and remove the breakpoint that I put there and then run it. So you see, it will be quick, it will be very fast. So just pay attention and see. So once it's open, you will click on get in touch and voila. So the ID worked great. Okay, so I used ID and it worked. If you have ID, great. ID is just the best to use. If there's no ID, you can use either your expert, you can use your CSS selector, you can use tag name, you can use name, okay, but I really recommend ID. And if you in an organization, the developers are not adding ID to all these components, ask them. You need to put ID, okay, a unique ID or a unique attribute to a particular component so that it will be easier for you to automate. So now we've written this. Do I still have that? No, it's closed. So let me go back to the website. This is the one that we're on. So we've been able to use our automated test to click on this, okay, with the use of our ID. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is to send keys, to send our name that we've parameterized, okay, into this, which is tester. Okay, so for you to do that, you have to inspect this field. So what we used before, the method we used to click on get in touch is .click. When I go back to our code, I will emphasize on that again. But what we want to do now is send keys. We want to be able to send key, okay, to send our name into this field. Okay, so we'll inspect this field, and to inspect the field, we'll click on here again and then click on the field we want to inspect. You can see the input. So when you look at this input, we have name as your name. Okay, we have name as your name. I won't expect it to be unique. Okay, you have also data name. This is also a unique attribute, which is data name, your name. Okay, so but we will use your name and see. So this is name. Like I said, let me go back to the code so you get what I mean. So like I said, on this, where is our page object? So like I said here, let me remove this one. Expert. If you click on dots, you will see name. Okay, you can use by name, right? That's what we're using here. So if I go back to that website, you can see name here. So the name is your name. So if we copy this your name as an attribute, okay, and we want to click on here and click on F and want to paste it. So you can see it's one of two. One of two. So you can actually use it as an attribute. Note that you can as well write an expert for this. You can copy this one, but I only advise beginners to do copy, then experts. If I do copy by expert, you see the expert to give me. Let me show you. This is the expert he has given me. Okay, this is the expert he has given me. And he's showing that he has an ID that is somewhere there, but it's not, the ID is not for that particular field. Okay, so yeah, you can use this and it works. You can see if we use this as our expert, it will work. But I want to advise, and you can also customize your own experts. We'll come into that some other time. Okay, so we can use our name, which is your name here. Then you can click on this. Okay, and then we can copy it. One of two is fine. We can copy it, go to our code as well, repeat the same thing that we've done. So instead of by expert here, we'll just do dots, right? Name. And we can enter the name here. Okay. So what we will do is the same thing. I don't know if you can see this. It seems it's tiny. Let me get it up to 100. Seems very tiny. Yeah, and then reduce to 72 to 70. Yeah, better. So you can see the first one where it has one using because we've used this method in our step definition. You can see we've used it in our step definition, and it's even giving you the line 20 anyway. So what we're going to do now is to write another method. Okay, you can, instead of typing everything all over again, you can just copy that and paste and then rename it. Okay, so now we want to enter our method name. Now will be enter. Okay, you can just say enter. Okay, user's name. Okay, enter user's name. So now we will also remove this variable name. We copied it. So just removing the variable name and enter name. The name is this variable because we stored it here. Okay, and we're not clicking. What we are doing is we want to send keys. Okay, we want to send keys. So we're using .send key method. Send key. You can see there are different method for actions that you can do. You can use .submit, .enable, .selected. I did share the Selenium documentation where you will see all these things. Okay, you can also use yeah, I find elements. So what we're going to use is .send keys. Okay, you can use .send keys, and we are passing the name as a string from our step definition. Let me go back to our step definition so you see what I'm saying. So from our step definition here, oops, let me uncomment this one. Just this. So we are passing the name as a string here. Okay, so let me go to step definition. We are passing the name as a string. You can see here. Okay, so because of that, on our page object, you can put a name there. Let me see your page object. Here is it. You can say string. Okay, and then you can put any string name that you want. Okay, we can say name. Yeah, and then we can also have name here as well, string name. Okay, so okay, we're using the same thing here. You can say, let's say customer name or username. Username has the same thing as username. Yeah, username. Because the name, if I put name, is conflicting with the name variable that you have here. Okay, unless you want to change this to field name, you can just use name. If I change this to field or name field, sorry, name field. If I change that to name field, I can come here and change it to name field. That will compile. So you can now decide to say name here as your name. And decide to put just name here as your name as well. So that works and it compiled. So the next thing we're going to do is to just call this method here. Call this method in our step definition. You can run your test. So calling the method in our step definition. And there we go. So underscore, how do we call it? Call our constructor, underscore homepage, which is this. Then dots, you can now put you can see enter username. Okay, so here, remember that our string is name. Okay, and here you can just enter name. Okay, and when we run this, it will pass that name that we've stored here, which is tester. It will pass it, okay, and then send it to that URL. So let's run it. We'll run it on debug mode again. Okay, so we'll just put a breakpoint here and then run it on debug mode, and you will see tester will be entered into that field. Okay, so let's do it. On debug mode, so we're expecting to see tester on that field. Click on get in touch. Yeah. So let's see our code. If you click on this and then go on here. So it hasn't executed, you can see. It hasn't executed. There's no name has been added here. Okay, so let's remove it and then step in. Do step in. Step in. I can do continue, but I'm just stepping in so you see how it's going. Then it will now, this is where it will execute the method of sending key. Okay, we can now say step in. Evaluating expression name. Yeah, that's one. Okay. Yep. So if we go, we should see tester here. Very thing. So we have tester here. It has entered it. So the same thing is what we can do for every other one. Okay. How you do it, you come here, inspect, get this, get the locator to this particular field, get the locator to this particular field, get the locator to this particular field. That's how you do it until you are done. Okay. So now you can see that passed. Let me just click on continue before you will finish. You can see that passed. Okay, so that's what you will continue to do until you are done with all those tests. So let me go and uncomment every other step so we can complete it and then run our test. Which of uncomment everything. Yeah. So the next one we want to pass is our company name. Okay, because we'll come back to this and we want to inspect our company name. So you click on select locator and click on this field. So once we click on the field, you can see, let me remove this. Okay, so you can now look for a name. Can you see? So it's no, that's not the one we're looking for. This is the field we are looking for. This and this is it. So you can see the name. The name is test underscore 653. So let's look at this name and see if it's unique. It's one of two as well. If we use it, it will pass. Okay. If we use it, it will pass. You can also decide to use class. But the issue here is the class might not be unique. Okay, they might repeat the class over and over again. You can also use experts. So this time around, let me use experts because I've used ID, I've used name. Let me just copy this expert. We can also customize it, but let me just copy this one. Okay, for the sake of showing you that it works as well. Okay, it's not great, but yeah, you can do with it. Okay, I'll just copy the experts and go back to our code and looking at our page objects. On our page objects, we can now paste it here. So we're using expert, we use ID, we use name. Now we're using experts. The next time I will copy CSS. You can see it's long. You can see how long it is. Anyway, so same thing we'll do for this one. If you decide to type it, that's good. If you want to just copy and duplicate, yeah. So it's good. This time around, you are entering company name. So I'll just copy this. Just copy this just to make it quick, and then I'll replace it with this, and replace it with this one as well. So because you want to enter company name, I'll just make sure we've written everything properly. So here we just want to put company name as our string. Company name, that's the name of our string. Oh, we have this as company name as well. Okay, so let me just put user. User company name. It could be customer company name, any one of it. So I just replace this with customer company name. Customer company name. Right. So if you look here, it's no longer grayed out. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is now is to, of course, get this one as well, the method, and then call it on our step definition, which is this. underscore homepage dot. Okay. Enter company name, which is this. Enter company name. And then, of course, you have to also use the same. So this is supposed to be a small letter. A small letter because it is a string name. Small letter. I'll just create and then go back to my step definition. And then put the string name and enter the string name in here as well. That's why it's highlighting. Right, because it hasn't compiled because you need to enter a string name here. So once we've done this and we run it, if we run it, it will send tester limited into that input field. Same as this. That is what you will continue to do until you are done. Okay, so I won't run it now. I'll just go ahead and continue so that we can finish what we've got. So the next one is email address. So I want to inspect email address now. So this time around for email address, you can see it has a name, your email. So we can decide to use this name, your email. Okay, you can decide to also construct an expert with this data name, your email. Okay, if we use this, it works. If we use value type, it works. But what I want to do is, if we customize a CSS selector, it will work. But I want to copy selector from here. I want to copy selector. So you will see, just mixing it up so you see different ones. Okay, so this is a selector. If you use it, it will work. But I don't recommend you use this copied one, or just show you that it works. So if we go to our page objects, yeah, and then scroll up, I'll paste this here under email address. It's long. So I will change this. Remember, I put this as a placeholder before to .css. So .css selector. CSS selector. So I've used ID, name, expert, then CSS selector. Okay. You also do the same as well. Okay, this as well. Then paste it. Get the address name here, and then replace this one, and then replace this one as well. Just change, enter email. And I'll just put email. Email here. Email here. Yeah. As always, no. So as always, you will call your step definition, your page object in your step, your method in your step definition. So that's what you do over and over and over again. So page. We have enter email address here, and we'll have our name as email. This particular one has not compiled because we need to enter the email here as well. Okay, if we run that way, pass. Okay, so the next one as well we need to do is the next one we need to do is phone number. Okay, which is this one. Let me open it up, which is phone number. Right, phone number. So as always, just remove this. Yeah. So always you come here, inspect this field. So once you've inspected, this is it. So you can see the phone number here, phone number field. You can see it has a name as well. Okay, this is the class, and it has a value phone number. So what I will do this time around, is to write an expert. Okay, I'll write an expert that will use this particular one. So to write the expert, there are different ways to write experts, to customize your experts. But I'm just going to customize one using value type Okay, so what I will do is to customize your SPAT, you put forward slash 2 times. Okay, so once you've put the forward slash 2 times, you can locate the, all you will do is you locate the tag. You locate the tag name, and the tag name here is input. So just put input. So once you've put input, the next thing you want to put is an angle bracket. So put an angle bracket. Inside the angle bracket, you put at. Once you've put at there, you can now locate the special attribute that is on there. And here, the special attribute is value type. Don't forget, I can decide to use this name, but I want to customize this SPAT. So you can just copy that, the special attribute, which is this. So this is type value. Okay, you can start to copy that and put it in here. Okay, after the at, you can now paste it. Okay, if you look, you can decide to just put you can leave it the way it is, or you can just decide to put a single quote. Okay, so you can see that it's giving us 1 of 1. And when you place your cursor in front of it and click on enter, that particular page highlights. So this is a customized SPAT. You can do it like this as well. Okay, so once we've come here, then we'll place our SPATs on our page object. Page object here, place it here, and we'll do the same thing. Actually, do the same thing. We can just copy this phone number, then place it here, and place it we'll have here, and then place this one as well. This is phone number. Then just change this as phone number. So what we will do today is we'll just complete the form. We will not do the assertion. We won't validate we won't click on submit and validate it. In our next class, we will do validation so that we'll see we can use different kind of validation. We can use fluent assertion. We can use fluent assertion, and we can also use unit assertion. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So just put phone instead of phone number so that it will be different. Phone here. Okay, same, and go to our step definition. Do the same. This one, and underscore homepage, then dots. Enter phone number. Put phone here, and then phone here. Yeah. Okay. So the next one is submit. We'll do the submit. We will not run it because if we run it, we'll do the submit. Okay. We'll do the submit. Let me run this one so that by the time we'll do the submit, we won't run it because it has already, all this one has already gone in. So then our next class, which is maybe tomorrow, we will now do the assertion so we can explore different kind of assertion. Yeah. So let me do the submit button. So for the submit button as well, this time around we are clicking because this is the button now that we want to inspect. So this is the button. So we have type as submits. So you can decide to use that. Okay, this class name is not good. So we can decide to do the same thing we've done here. Okay, copy these attributes and So let me just copy the submit. Yeah, the submit attributes and just place it on this one. So it's 0 because the tag name for the submit one, the phone number is input, but the tag name for this is button. So we'll just take the tag name and change it with this tag name for this. Yeah, you can see it's now highlighting this on the button. So this is the right one. And this is also a customized CSS expert. Okay, this is a customized expert. So we can go back to our page, our projects, go to our page objects, and place it here and submit button. And then copy this submit. You can see what we did here. Okay, we use ID for the first one. We use ID for the first one. We also use name, then expert, CSS, customize expert, and customize expert here as well. So we can just replicate this, copy this, and place here. Oops, I've done that the wrong way. Okay, and place, then copy this submit button. Place it here. So this doesn't have any string because we're not passing anything. It's going to be dot click. So this doesn't have anything because it's going to be dot click. We're changing this method to dot click. Dot. Then let me click. We're not sending key. Let's click. And I'm going to replace this submit button. So we'll call this an outside definition as well. Call the method an outside definition as well, which is this. So outside definition. And then we'll remove this. Then underscore homepage. Submit button. Enter. Click on. Okay, this should be click on submit button, but I can say enter submit button. Or I can change it to click on submit button. So it's not click submit button. Okay. Yeah, the reason why is because we'll have to go to page object and change it as well. Just change. Okay, if you go back to your page step definition, yeah, you can see that it's all fine now. So we are done. The only thing left now is to do the validation. Okay, so if we run this, it's going to pass up to the point that we will do the validation. Okay, so I will just put the breakpoint here. Let's just put the breakpoint here because I don't want to run the submit button. Because if I run submit, it will submit. So, but I'll just put the breakpoint here, make sure everything has entered, and then we can do the assertion tomorrow. Okay, so let's run our tests. Debug. Okay, it's loading now. You can see it's clicked on. Yeah, just click on continue. So yeah, it stopped at the first breakpoint that we have. So you can see when you go here, it hasn't entered anything. So I'll just click on continue. So it has stopped on the phone number, meaning that it has entered everything, and you can see how fast it is. So let's go on this and see. Look, it has entered everything. Enter tester limited, tester@gmail.com. So if we execute the phone number, it will also enter the phone number. So let's execute the phone number. Okay. Let's execute the phone number. I don't want to execute submit. So I'll just do step over. Okay, so if we come here, you can see it has executed the phone number. So you can see it has entered the phone number, and that's it. The next one will be to click on submit. So, but we will stop. We'll stop debugging here. Okay, so we don't execute the submit button because we don't want it to submit. So tomorrow we will do and then user must receive a successful message, which is the assertion. Okay, now we can do different kind of assertion, the end unit assertion and the fluent assertion. That's it. Thank you, everyone.